Can you guys hear me okay? Can you guys hear the game? Why is it saying it's not taking any audio in? Is it? No? Hold on. Ikuzo, but you can't hear the game. Now I'm confused. Why? Why no game? It should be working. Oh, can you hear it now? Okay, nice. Hopefully you can hear me as well and everything's good. Hi everyone. I just woke up 10 minutes ago. So, hi. Hi Shiro, hi Jen, hi Flamim, hi Hyde, hi Let's see, did I miss anyone? No, I think that's everyone that was here. Okay, nice. Hello, hello, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good night, whatever it is for you. Let's continue. Yes, okay, so last time where we left off was there was that little vampire boy who was throwing a fit because Van Helsing killed his dad. And now they're like, what do we do about it? Delacroix, yes. He was low-key precious. He's very cute. I forgot to read her line. We're so back. Yeah, I missed this game. The latter option is probably a gentle way of suggesting that we kill him. I assume as much, but can't bring myself to ask for clarification. Me too. And he seemed to have his reasons for doing what he did. Which routes have you completed already? None. It's been a while. I didn't want to play it off stream, so none. I'll probably honestly only do Victor's route on stream because that's the one I'm looking forward to the most. And then I'm not sure about the others yet. Oh, we'll see.
そうだね。だけど、ドラクロワ2世は僕たちを殺すと宣言したんだ。何も考えないわけにはいかないよ。
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
明日、奴のアジトに行ってみようぜ。
アジト。あのドラクロワ2世の言っていたバンとの因縁の地という場所ですか？
向かうのはいいけど、それってどこにあるわけ？バンしか知らないんじゃね？
それに、これはバン個人の問題でもあります。
Thank you.
そうやすやすと彼が私たちを同行させるでしょうか。
I don't know if it happens to anyone else, but I have this weird thing when I first wake up in the morning, I sneeze a lot. Thank you, thank you.
そればっかりは本人次第だな。嫌だと言われりゃそれまでだ。とにかく今日は解散しようぜ。何をするにも休息は必要だからな。
Lupin is the first to leave the room. Impy, Saint Germain, and Victor eventually all head up to their own rooms. As for me, for some reason I don't want to go to bed just yet, so I remain in my chair. I wonder how long I've been sitting here. I sit in the quiet, deserted lounge with my eyes closed. Oh my gosh, he's here. Oh my gosh, this is not a drill. I hear a noise and raise my head to see Victor standing at the open door.
いや、ずいぶんと遅くまで起きてるね。寝ないのかい？
So many thoughts keep coming up in my mind, so I can't sleep. What about you?
僕も君と同じかな。あの子供とバンのことを少し考えててさ。
He's so soft and gentle and sweet, and Delacroix?
うん。これまでに彼が起こした事件を最初から全て調べてみたんだけど、狙った獲物はみんな元は吸血鬼の王族が持っていた財産だったものらしいんだ。
What?
つまり彼は盗んでいたんじゃない。奪われた吸血鬼の財産、同胞の形見を取り返していたんだよ。
知れ者ども、口を開けろ。世は世が手に入れるべきものをここへ取り返しに来たのだからな。
He's doing his best. Is that true?
多分バンもそのことは分かっているんだろうね。彼ほど深く吸血鬼たちの滅亡を知る人はいないだろうから。
Victor, do you know Van Helsing well?
いや、知っているのは表面的なことだけだよ。彼は2年前の吸血鬼戦争で英雄になった。彼のおかげで吸血鬼戦争は短期に終結し、英国軍は軽微な被害で済んだと言われている。人類に危害を加えようとした吸血鬼たちのアジトに乗り込んで、吸血鬼の王ドラクロワを殺し、その一族を全員殺したと言われてる。戦争はそれがきっかけで終結した。あとはただ残党狩りがあっただけだ。
Was all that necessary? Victor slowly shakes his head.
吸血鬼という存在が人類に危害を加えようとした。それがどこまで本当なのか僕にはわからないよ。でもはっきり言えることがある。戦争はただの殺し合いだ。そこに正義なんてない。
Damn. I noticed that Victor's hands are clenched tightly into fists. No, because this reminds me, I've been reading a book lately, and it's set in the Cold War time period. And this girl goes on like a little spiel about how like humans haven't gotten better because even with all our technology, we still fall into the same habits of like war and everything. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so like overlapping with like, or it's like still relevant because like despite the time period she said in. Oh, that's silly. So that just feels very like along the same lines of what she was saying in the book. I noticed that Victor's hands are clenched tightly into fists. Victor? What's the matter?
ああ、いや、僕も宮廷錬金術師なんてやっていたからさ。あの戦争に関しては他人事じゃいられなくて。
Victor's tone makes me feel like he's avoiding the truth.
それでも バンは簡単に誰かを殺すような冷酷な人間じゃないと思うんだ。
My suspicion is that like the Vampire King and Van Helsing made some kind of like deal about it, you know?
彼が称えられているいわゆる英雄的な行為は事実からほど遠い気がするんだ。
Yes, I think so too.
ああ、話し込んじゃったね。僕もそろそろ寝るとするよ。君も早く眠った方がいい。
Thanks. Victor smiles and gives me a little wave as he leaves. I still can't sleep, though, so I head outside the mansion. I only have one reason for doing so. I saw Van Helsing through the window and couldn't help but come out after him. I wonder where he went. I know I saw him right here. I feel that if I can see him, the thoughts that stir up my emotions, like Van Helsing's past, Delacroix II's hateful gaze, will somehow be soothed. Oh. I find him. He doesn't seem to be doing anything, just standing there, deep in thought. I'm about to call out to him, but then I see what a sorrowful state he is in, and I hesitate.
お前か。こんな時間に何をしている？
Van Helsing notices me before I can make up my mind to speak. I was... Sounds really interesting. Yeah, we'll see. Ask or don't ask? Oh no, I'm indecisive. Oh, you know what? I can... What's the title? Oh, the book. Let me find it. It's something bookshop. Oh, here it is. Okay. It's called The London Bookshop Affair by Louise Fine. Let me see if I can find the page she talks about it. Louise Fine. It's Fein for the last name. Let me see. What is after this? Let's see. I can't remember exactly when she said it, but I'll see if I can find it and then post a picture or something. Yeah. But it's been a pretty interesting book. It kind of goes between different perspectives. So, it like starts off with the main character, but then it also goes to a dude, but it's only done that twice, so I still don't know his significance in the story. And then you also learn about the character's family, and all of it's supposed to tie together somehow, so it is pretty interesting. Oh, here we go. I found it. Yeah, here we go. I'm gonna read it real but I love books. But But what she wants to discuss is why human progression seems to have skirted around the fact that humans consider themselves to be becoming ever more civilized, when really their nature hasn't changed a jot since prehistoric times. They are still the same bundle of instincts ready to fight for life and territory and resources. It's simply their tools have gotten more useful, their weapons more lethal. So much so, it's quite likely, if one believes the swelling numbers of peace protesters, that the two superpowers may well destroy the entire planet if relations between them get any worse. Now, it is very cynical, but it is like a huge call out because it's kind of true. We're like, oh my gosh, like humans have advanced so much. But I was a psychology major, and so like we've talked about this too, you know, where we kind of look into like just we've like talked about how to say this, about like the increasing rates of mental illness, right? And like I know it's such a joke to be like, oh, it's because of those darn phones, or like social media is what's ruining our children, blah 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 blah. But in a way, I do think technology has made things worse. Something that one of the people in that discussion circle pointed out at that time was like, I don't think we were ever meant to always have access to our work. You know, because like in the past, work was sunrise to sunset. That was it. You didn't want to burn too much oil. They were either farming, doing something. Everyone was home after sunset. They just chilled and then they went to bed. They weren't working anymore. But now, like, everyone's like, oh my gosh, I was up until 2 a.m. studying for our test today. Or like, oh, I had to turn in a report, so I had to like stay up. Or they had me working overtime because we have a project proposal due. Whatever, you know? So it's like no matter where you go or like what time it is, you have access to your work. So I feel like we get that constant pressure to be like, oh, I should be working right now. I should be working right now. And I do think like all that technology has added to our issues. Not that I hate technology. I just think it, as many benefits as it brought, it also brought problems that we weren't expecting. But anyways, we're going to ask about his past. That was such a tangent. Sorry. I want to ask you something personal. I can't stop thinking about it. You don't have to answer if you don't want to. That boy Delacroix II. Did you kill his father? Van Helsing falls silent for a while. For some reason, the silence begins to frighten me. I don't know Van Helsing very well, but that simple admission eloquently conveyed the immense weight he bears on his chest. I see. His words are stern, distant. He's telling me the complete unabridged truth, but he doesn't look my way at all. It almost feels like he is telling me that I have no business asking this about him. He turns back to the mansion as he says this. I can't respond to him at all, and merely watch him as he walks away. When I enter my room, Cece comes up to me, wagging his tail. Oh, I'm sorry, Cece. That's right. We always sleep together. Were you worried about me? Everything's fine. Let's go to bed. Cece hops up on the bed and curls up. I feel the weight of his small body by my feet and close my eyes. You agree with that? Yeah. There's a lot of interesting things to talk about when it comes to modern technology and modern day. But if I keep talking about it, I would go on for like an hour, honestly. Van Helsing. Delacroix II. My father. And me. I think about all kinds of things, but the conclusion I ultimately arrive at is simply everyone probably lives under the burden of all the different events in their past. What burden am I carrying? It's with this thought that I gradually fall asleep. The next day, the train slowly leaves the station. We are headed for the place where Delacroix II is waiting for us. According to Van Helsing, it is far to the north of London, all the way in Scotland. It's at least one whole day's journey away. In the end, we all decide that we would travel there together. Van Helsing had no objections to our request to accompany him. Van Helsing and Delacroix II. Do they mean to continue fighting until one of them falls? One having lost his family and the other having taken away. Even if this is the path they've chosen for themselves. All I can think about is whether there is a way to avoid Van Helsing's death and the death of Delacroix II.
天候があまり良くありませんね。これは一雨来そうだ。
I look outside the window. Ominous gray clouds cover the sky. It feels like a foreshadowing of the events to come, and I avert my eyes from them. From that point until we arrive, no one says much, and we spend our time either looking out the window or reading. The boy's father died during the Vampire War. He says Van Helsing killed him.
どうかしたか？
Without realizing it, I had been staring at Van Helsing. Oh, yes. It seems like you haven't slept much, so I was wondering if you're all right.
そうか。私は問題ない。お前こそあいつらを見習って気を休めておくことだ。
With those few words, the conversation comes to an end. I wonder what he's thinking right now. We are all deep within the forest. We arrive at the right station at dawn, but there is still a long journey ahead. It's already sunset.
もうすぐ日が暮れますね。目的の場所というのはまだ遠いのでしょうか。
もう少しだ。
We walk through the woods in silence. Van Helsing? Silence. But I don't back down and keep talking. What are you going to do to that boy? If the only options are to kill or be killed, what did he come here to do? He doesn't give a clear answer and starts walking even faster. We walk for 2 more hours. Oh, damn. Of course, it's shrouded in shrouded in fog. The scenery suddenly opens up around us, and the trees are replaced by a tall building.
こりゃすげえや。
うーわー、すごく大きなお屋敷だね。ずいぶん古いようだけど。
吸血鬼一族の歴史は古く、各地に点在していたようです。ここもその拠点の一つなのでしょう。
なんつうか、でかいしすげえんだけど、なんか寂しい場所なんだな。
Now that he mentions it, the castle does have a certain sadness. Did you guys know castles and palaces are like actually have a distinct historical difference? Castles apparently are like meant for battles and wars, so they have moats and they're not that like comfy. They weren't made to be comfy. So they weren't well furnished or anything in the past, where palaces were like the things that people would live in and like extravagant, whatever. I was like, I didn't know that that was like a real difference, or that like that's why we had two words for it. Because now I feel like everyone thinks like castle, palace, same thing, whatever, but they're different. Is that boy waiting for us all by himself in that mansion that used to stand with such dignity in the past?
行くぞ。
Van Helsing sets off and we follow. Our footsteps echo in the hall. While the interior is in disrepair, it's not as bad as the decrepit exterior.
なんかびっくりするほど寂れちゃってんのな。
Impy says this in a soft voice, sounding sadder than I expected. I turn around. Impy, have you been here before?
いや、ないよ。ないんだけど、なんだかね。
インピドラクロワ2世がなぜあれほど強いのか、お前は疑問に思っていたな。
え、うん、そうだな。いくら吸血鬼って言ってもさ、子供だぜ。そりゃ不思議に思うっての。
疑問に答えてやろう。ドラクロワ2世は純血種だ。
Pure blood?
吸血鬼という種族は閉鎖的ではあったが、世界情勢を作るのはあくまで人間だ。そして人に近しい存在であるがゆえに、人の世界と無関係ではいられない。時代を経るにつれ、一部の吸血鬼は人間との交流を深め、その血は混じり合っていった。
なるほど。種族を超えた愛というものでしょうか。
表現など好きにすればいい。やがて人間との関わりが強くなるにつれ、堅くなに交流を拒んでいた者たちは全体から見ればごく少数となった。単なる人嫌いや吸血鬼としての誇りを掲げる者、理由は様々だったが、それらは皆一様に吸血鬼本来の高い身体能力を誇った。
へえ。じゃああのちびすけが強えのは人の血が混じってないからか。
昔はむしろあれが普通だったってことだよね。吸血鬼は人間の畏怖の対象だったって言うけど、それもうなずける話だね。
だが結局のところ、人間との交流を拒んだ者たちの大半は自然と消えていくことになったかな。
畏怖の対象ね。
Van Helsing continues speaking as he walks. I am convinced Impy is half vampire, or a vampire descendant.
かつて私が吸血鬼の王ドラクロワを殺したその場所に。
We suddenly enter an open space, a large room the size of a great hall. I see wide, luxurious staircases and elaborate chandeliers. He has the teeth, yeah, and the strength. Although everything looks worn out now, their presence speaks of the past splendor of this mansion. And then...
待っていたぞ、ヘルシング。
Yes, please don't spoil. Don't spoil. Standing at the center of the stairs is the pure-blooded vampire, as if he had been waiting this whole time.
父上が最後に果てたこの場所で、世は貴様の首を取ってみせよ。
We all tense up at these hateful words. However, without hesitation, Van Helsing steps forward without even drawing his guns. Van Helsing?
そこで見ている。 おいおい、一人で平気なのかよ。これはあくまでも私の問題だ。ここから先は私だけで。
Yeah, I know it can be hard to spoil though, or like when you're it's like when you're watching a movie with someone and you're like staring at them to see their reactions at the major parts.
大勢で来たというのに助けは求めぬのか。今日は貴様らが束で来ようとも構わぬが、まあその結果転がる死体の数が増えるだけになるかもしれんがな。
無駄口が多いな、ドラクロワ2世。私を恐れているのか？
Why are you provoking him?
私が憎いのならば、早々に殺してみるがいい。もっとも、それができるならばの話だが。
Why are you provoking him? In the tense atmosphere, the air around the boy seems to swirl.
よかろう。
He brushes his cape back and raises his fists.
よう以前の世と思うな。お前を殺すためだけに世は修練を重ねてきたのだ。
Yikes.
父上の無念、母上の悲しみ、同胞たちの怒りを今ここで晴らしてくれる。行くぞ、ヘルシング！
His speed enables him to close the 10 steps between them in an instant. As we expected, Delacroix II's physical abilities are extraordinary.
得意の銃も構えぬとは、おう、なめているのか！
Van Helsing takes every one of the boy's punches without so much as a change in his expression.
どうした？反撃しないつもりか？
He's just a kid.
貴様、どこまでも世を愚弄する気か！
Van Helsing brushes aside an unending stream of punches and kicks, doing nothing but fighting defensively. But how is Van Helsing able to block these attacks so easily? From what I saw at the auction, the child's fists hold a tremendous amount of power. Is it really possible to take this many blows even though they may not all be direct hits?
あれは相手の力を正面から受け止めていないからですよ。
The Count speaks out as if reading my mind.
力を受け止めるのではなく、その力の方向を巧みにそらすことで威力を逃がしているんです。とはいえ、あれはあくまでもバンだから可能な戦法でしょう。常人ではドラクロワ2世の拳に反応すらできないでしょうから。人間兵器のな。
Oh, I cut him off. Sorry, I got impatient. Does that mean both of them are superhuman beings above the range of what's considered normal? I suddenly recall my past of being called a monster and being hated. For some reason, this scene before me of two people fighting for their lives looks sad to me. Are you sure he doesn't need help?
助ける必要はねえだろ。
But
別に見捨てるとかそういうことじゃねえさ。ただ単にバンがそれを望んじゃいねえし、それにあいつにも考えがあるんだろ。本気でやべえと思ったら問答無用で助けりゃいい。でもそれまでは 俺たちは何もするべきじゃねえ。バンの言う通り、これはあいつが背負わなきゃいけないことだろうからな。
Something he has to do himself.
心配しなくてもいいよ。バンは強いし優しい人だと思う。きっと何とかしてくれる。
Okay. I nod hesitantly at Victor's points. As we watch the fighting progress, it changes. It all changes suddenly. Van Helsing sinks his fists into the boy's abdomen. Van Helsing wastes no opportunity when his opponent loses his balance and delivers a blow to Delacroix's head with his elbow. The boy jumps back in defense. However, by that time, Van Helsing has his two shotguns out and already pointed at Delacroix. Oh, damn.
動けば撃つ。
The tables have completely turned from his defensive fighting earlier. The hunter and the hunted. The CG! Look at him! Holy shit. A tense silence fills the space between them.
それがどうした？集団を避けるなど造作もない。
ならば試してみるか。その瞬間、お前は息絶えることになるがな。お前自身分かっているはずだ。お前は亡き父上よりはるかに弱い。お前では私に勝てない。
ならばなぜ撃たない？
幸福を求める。私はそもそもお前に危害を与える気はない。
それは一体何のつもりだ？今さら情けをかけるというのか？
警告だ。動くな。
ならばなぜ2年前のあの時その情けを見せなかった？
お前を撃ちたくはない。
お前がお前さえいなければ父上と母上は死ななかったのに。
The boy leaps forward. I gulp at the dull boom of the gunshot. Delacroix is rolling on the floor as if he'd been thrown back.
警告したはずだぞ。
Not a single drop of blood stains his white clothes. Instead, there are white shards. I immediately realize what they are. Rock salt. Van Helsing had no intention of killing the boy from the very beginning.
殺してやる。
Even after being shot, Delacroix stands up. Van Helsing fires another shotgun blast, and the vampire falls to the ground.
殺してやる。お前もお前の大切なものもすべて。
Even then, Delacroix tries to stand up once again. No, baby. Delacroix screams as the gunshots continue.
立つな。
必ず復讐してやる。
Betraying his parents' kindness.
母上の優しさを利用し裏切った貴様を許すものか。
His body is blown away like an old rag and rolls across the floor. Van Helsing. That's enough, Van Helsing. It seems like Delacroix has finally lost the strength to withstand more gunshots and has stopped moving. His face is twisted in pain.
力の差が分かっただろう。ドラクロは2世。お前の実力では決して私を倒すことはできない。それともうこれ以上宝物の強奪などやめることだ。人間はお前が思っている以上に残酷だ。油断しているお前ではいつかその身を食われることになる。人間すべてに復讐することなど諦めろ。
許さない。ヘルシング、お前だけは。
お前が殺すのは私だけでいい。
No! Van Helsing stands and looks down at the boy for a long time.
今はまだお前に殺されるわけにはいかない。私にもどうしても果たさなければいけない目的がある。だが全てが終わったら私はそれだけのことをした。
Van Helsing.
ドラクロは2世。お前の復讐は私を殺して終わりにしろ。それ以上誰も憎むな。
Not the self-sacrificial freaking route. Delacroix slowly rises to his knees, shaking. He apparently has no more strength to resist, and Van Helsing lowers his guns.
どういうつもりだ。罪滅ぼしとでも言うのか。そんなこと絶対に許さない。善人のふりをして救いの手を差し出すなど。殺せ。お前に情けをかけられては父上と母上に顔向けできない。
お前を殺す必要がない。
殺せ。殺せ。
The boy crumples to the ground. No, baby. For a while, his crying is the only thing to break the silence within the hall. He's just grieving. Outside, thunder roars in the distance, dully echoing through the house. I don't know the truth behind the war 2 years ago, or what war is really like. I only have knowledge from the books I've read. I don't understand war very well. But to me, Delacroix II and Van Helsing both look like victims carrying the weight of their sadness from those events. A huge mansion has gone to ruin. He was probably living here all alone for the past 2 years, just like I had been in Wales. No, his pain is far greater than mine. A hatred that he can't do anything about, and an anger that burns through him. His suffering must have been immense. I speak hesitantly. Do you think we could possibly bring him back with us?
この子とはドラクロワ2世のことですよね。
ええ、いくらなんでもそれは無理ってもんじゃない。この坊や俺たちのこと殺すって言ってたんだぜ。その発想はさすがになかったっつうか、なんていうか、とりあえず俺は反対。
それは僕も賛成しかねるかな。みんなの安全を考えれば彼という存在は危険すぎるよ。
As I'd expected, everyone disagrees. I could tell Delacroix, leaning on the staircase to support himself, was quietly looking at me.
どうしてそうしたいと思った？なんか理由があるんだろ？
Now that Lupin's asked, I start to explain my reasons, little by little. I think that it must be very lonely for him to stay here all by himself. I think that's very sad. At first I didn't realize it because being alone seemed so natural to me. But now that I look back, the years I was alone were a very painful and trying time in my life. I try to explain myself, but the words aren't coming out and I get frustrated. I think there are a lot of things he won't see or understand, not as long as he remains here. That's why I want you to come with us. I think things will start to look different to you with a change of scenery. Does that sound crazy?
貴様は今相当おかしなことを言っているぞ。
Delacroix suddenly starts talking.
なぜそんなに必死になる？世のことを何も知らないお前がなぜ世を気遣うようなことを言う？
His gaze is sharp, searching for answers. I look directly back at him, staring into his eyes. My life has not been as difficult as yours, but I know a little bit about loneliness. That's why I want to try and do something about that. Even though it's a dangerous situation, I also know the pain of losing parents. He remains silent for a long time.
世の感情を勝手に決めつけた挙句、それをどうにかしてやりたいだと。実に勝手な意見だな。
I'm sorry. Delacroix takes a breath and looks around the hall before turning to me again.
ここはこの屋敷は同胞の家族の墓だ。墓には墓守りが必要なのだ。世はここを離れるわけにはいかない。
復讐をなすことがお前の悲願なのだろう。
Van Helsing suddenly speaks up.
ならばお前はここに眠る同胞のためにも私を見張っている。すべてが終わった時、私が心変わりをして逃げ出さないようにな。そしていつか私を殺し、その事実をもって手向けの花とするがいい。
その言葉に偽りはないのだな、ヘルシング。
ああ、その程度のことで私の罪が消えるとも思っていない。
My theory is that Van Helsing and the vampires originally tried to find some kind of peaceful arrangement, and the government pretended to agree and then used Van Helsing's connections to wipe them all out. That's my theory.
今となっては私にできることはそれくらいだ。
Because he knows so much about Delacroix and everything. Van Helsing falls silent. Delacroix doesn't say anything either and simply stares at him. There is a long silence. Finally, in a soft voice,
わかった。お前たちと共に行こう。
elsewhere. Finnish stares up at the ceiling of St. Paul's Cathedral. Oh, this cathedral was demolished in the Great Fire of 1666 and rebuilt by the famed architect Christopher Wren. It is occupied by the Twilight Organization. The moonlight is tinted by the stained glass windows, spraying colored light across the floor. He can't help but smile. The magnificence and beauty that his father Isaac Beckford so loved brings him peace of mind. When he is here, in this place, he feels like he is communing with his father. He hears footsteps from behind and turns around to find Aster.
フィニス、探し物の居場所が分かったよ
そう。今回は随分時間がかかったね。あの列車の件といい、黄昏も人材不足かな。
嫌味を言うのは構わんが、それで結果が変わるわけではないぞ。
嫌味？やめてよ、アレスター。僕は君を信頼してる。素晴らしい部下だと思ってるよ。
やれやれ、それが嫌味だという。
それで彼らはどこに？
このロンドンのどこかということだ。要するに全く分かっていないに等しい。
何それ、報告にならないじゃない。やっぱり素晴らしい部下っていうのは取り消してもいいかな。
いかようにも、あちらには闘争の天才がいるとはいえ、それ以上に何かが邪魔しているようだな。
Alistair strokes his beard and takes a deep breath before continuing.
まあこれでも努力しているのだよ。多めに見てほしいものだ。
いずれにしろ総力を挙げて調べてよ。もう計画の準備は最終段階に入ってるんだからさ。
御意のままに。では私は先に失礼する。明日は朝早く。
そうそう、アレスター。一つ聞きたいことがあるんだけど。
Alistair, who has already Kaiji Yuki. Yes, and it throws me off so much because I love Kei Okazaki and that's all I hear. Alistair, who has already turned to walk away, stops and looks back. Oh, sorry.
何か
あの列車の騒動の時、わざとヘルシングを殺さなかったよね。やろうと
Real
思
and
え
true,
ば
yeah.
いくらでもできた
The
でしょ。
struggles.
どうして殺さなかったの？黄昏にいた頃の元教え子だから？
No redemption. Ooh, interesting. Van Helsing was Alistair's apprentice?
君のような本当の天才があの場面で後々の面倒を放置するとは思わなかったからさ。
これは君が私をそこまで買っているとは。しかし理由は実に単純だ。投げ込まれた花火に動揺してしまってね。気がついた時、すでに彼は姿を消していた。それだけのことだ。
へえ。
何かおかしな点でもあるかね。
わかったよ。そういうことにしておいてあげる。君も人の子だということが分かって少し安心したくらいだ。でも覚えておくといい。二度目はないよ。
ああ、なるべく忘れない。
Sorry, I started eating Cheez-Its. Alistair bows slightly, then melts into the darkness and disappears. He is in a good mood, so much so that he doesn't even mind Alistair's blunder. Soon he can see his sister. What? Soon he can see his sister and become one with her. What? That was his... What? That was his father's very wish. He will carry out his father's will.
父様、見ていてください。
His laughter echoes eerily throughout the acoustics of the cathedral. Chapter 6, Negotiated Solution. Give me just one moment. He runs with all his strength through an empty wilderness, a wasteland with no living things in sight. He runs through a charnel field of death. Victor? Nande? The dense fog sticks to his body. He flings off the gas mask he is wearing and covers his pale face with his hands.
なんであんな
Is this like a memory? A dream? He has escaped from a memory. He has escaped from a mountain of corpses. From that massive pile of unmoving bodies.
僕なんてこと
Unable to remain on his feet, he crashes to his knees.
なんてひどいことを
The scene is burned into his mind. A small child reaching out for help, then dying on the spot. Oh my god, what happened? It was nothing less than hell. And the person responsible for that hell is none other than himself.
僕のせいで
Holy shit. He feels that his mind will break, faced with a truth that he cannot accept. Don't mind me. He continues to scream until the rain that begins to fall drowns out every trace of his voice. He bolts upright in his bed, his hands clenching the sweat-soaked sheets.
夢
His heart is hammering, seeming to echo loudly in the silence. He presses tightly against his chest and squeezes out a gasping statement.
そうだ僕は許されるわけがないんだ
No! Sorry, my mom was talking to me. She brought me milk. I told her that I've been streaming and she's like very confused by it all. She's like, what do you do? And I was like, I just play games. She was like, but why? I'm like, because they're fun. A blue sky fills the window outside. Morning light lances between the clouds and caresses his face, and he turns away. It's such a nice day. It's been about a week since the vampire Delacroix joined us at the mansion. Even so, being on a kill or be killed basis with him, we have yet to fully warm up to each other. Naturally, it isn't easy for our hearts and minds to close this gap between us. For now, the fact that he has stopped attacking innocents, unrelated people, has been an adequate improvement for us. Shishi, let's go get breakfast. Shishi responds with enthusiasm. Later, Saint Germain has been helping us with the living expenses for the past few days. However, this is only temporary, and we are all determined to find a source of income. We all have our own ideas how to overcome this financial dilemma, like spending less or finding practical work. Maybe I can start a side job at home to help everybody out. I have ideas about this, but because I have to wear gloves, I'm discouraged that I won't be able to do any detailed work. I touch my chest without thinking about it. The horologium. It knocks at my heart and makes me a monster. Someday. Will I someday be able to rid my body of the poison that flows through it? I can still vividly remember those words. Malice, hatred, hostility, and fear. I was attacked in the past by words that cut as sharp as knives, by emotions that penetrated as deeply as any bullet. Shishi barks, and I return to the present. He is looking up into my face as if concerned about me, and this is why we love dogs. Oh. No, I'm fine. Let's go, Shishi. He barks heartily at this and making me smile despite how I feel at the moment.
今日の食事もとても美味しいですね、インピ。
そりゃよかった。でも保存食ばっかじゃさすがにレパートリーがな。
Shishi, my beloved, real.
おや、この出来に納得いかないと十分飽きのこない食事になっていると思いますけどね。
それじゃあ俺が納得できないの。天才料理人としてはやっぱバラエティ豊かに展開していきたいじゃないの。
いつの間に天才料理人に？私の記憶ではインピーは天才技師だったはずですがね。
I really enjoy the meals you make for us, MP.
うん、ありがとう。でもね、飽きられた後に工夫するのは二流。飽きられる前に工夫するのが一流なのさ。
I see. What do you think, Van Helsing? I look over at him and see that he hasn't touched much of his meal. Van Helsing, aren't you hungry?
気にするな。
ここんとこあんま食べてなくね？何？味が合わなくなった？やっぱ飽きが来ちゃった感じ？
いや、十分に美味だ。相変わらず、お前が作ってるとは思えないほどの繊細な味わいだな。
He's so bluntly mean and nice at the same time.
それ褒めてんの？
当然だ。これ以上ない称賛のつもりだ。
食欲減退はドラクロワ2世がこの屋敷に滞在するようになってからですか。やはり彼が気になりますか？
He looks away without another word. I can't help but clamp my mouth shut. I can't jump into whatever issues are between Van Helsing and Delacroix. Was it a mistake to invite the young vampire into our home without thinking about it?
彼は今朝も食事には見えていませんし、体調が少し心配になりますね。
He seems to be eating. The plates I took off to his room are always cleaned off. I'm planning to take this morning's meal to his room
それは
again.
何よりです。よかったですね、バン。
なんだ、私は何も言ってないぞ。
それはそれとして。フラン、ずーっと黙り込んじゃってるけど、どうした？なんかすげえ顔怖いし。腹でも痛いの？
僕、いや、僕は何も。
You do seem down, Victor. Oh shoot, I skipped too fast.
そうかな。そんな風に見せていたならごめん。特に具合が悪いわけじゃないんだ。うん。
Victor smiles while he says this, but he still seems to be a little out of it.
そういえばルパンもいろいろと飛び回っているようですね。ここ最近皆が食卓に揃う機会がうまく噛み合いませんね。
Now that he mentions it, everyone has been busy with their own things or has some sort of reason to be by themselves. I think the last time we were all present for a meal was before we started chasing Delacroix.
よし、わかった。今夜はインピーさんがごちそうを作る。
Why?
そりゃあみんなの英気を養うためだよ。うまい飯を腹いっぱい食えば元気になれるもんだからね。
ごちそうですか。なるほど。いい案かもしれません。
料理か。鬱憤を晴らすにはちょうどいいかもしれない。インピー、私にも料理を作らせろ。
いや、そりゃいいけどさ、料理で鬱憤晴らすとか、ちゃんと食べられるもの作ってくれよ。
Oh, ye of little faith.
私を誰だと思っている。万事抜かりはない。任せろ。
へえ、彼女から聞いてはいたけど、バンって本当に料理が好きだったんだね。なんだか意外だよ。
I'm looking forward to trying out dishes from both of you. Impy's sudden suggestion has cleared up the gloomy air surrounding the dining table and a peaceful atmosphere comes in.
そんでさ、ドラちゃんも呼んで盛大にやろうぜ。
Deli. He's given him a nickname. Impy mentions an unfamiliar name. Who's Deli?
うん、ドラクロワ2世のこと。名前長くて舌噛みそうだからさ、ドラちゃんでいいかなって。
Deli. I tried it out. It is much easier than calling him Delacroix II all the time.
ドラちゃんですか。私はいいと思いますよ。その相性。彼の可愛さだ。本人がそれを気に入るかは別の話ですけれどね。
Yes. If Deli says it's okay, I think I'll start calling him that.
しかしインピー、お前は先ほどごちそうと言ったが、それを作るための素材はあるのか？私たちの財政は相変わらず厳しい。先立つものがなければ満足な品を用意できんぞ。
せちがらいね。
金の心配ならしなくていいぜ。
Oh? We turn around at the sudden comment. Oh, hello, Lupin.
ようみんな、随分としけた面してんな。
ルパン、どこにいてたんだ？ここ数日の外出先、誰も知らなかったからみんな心配してたよ。
ま、いろいろとな。目的も言わずに消えてたわびってわけじゃねえが、こいつは今後の活動資金な。
Huh? What the heck? Lupin turns a heavy-looking bag over the table and a mountain of bills falls out.
ルパン、これどうしたの？
おやおや、これはまた凄まじい額ですね。
ちょっとした手間賃ってやつだ。
手間賃にしちゃお前これ。
I don't really have a good grasp of money yet, but is this much enough to solve our troubles?
困るも困らないもこんだけあれば飛行船だって買えちゃうぜ。
An airship. I have no idea how much one of those would cost, but if Impy is this excited about it, they're probably very valuable. Then our money problems are over?
ああ、そういうことになるな。
I see. That's great news. But he's a thief after all? Yeah, I guess so. Lupin, this money, did you come by it honestly?
当然ですともお嬢さん。アルセーヌ・ルパンの正義に誓って。
He smiles at me while he says this.
それに贅沢するために取ってきた金ってわけじゃねえし、これからは計画的に使っていこうぜ。
別にお前がどこから金を取ってこようと責めるつもりなど毛頭ないが、この金額よほどの相手だったのか。
ま、そういうことだな。よほどの悪党様がたんまり持ってたんでね。
悪党って、そいつどんだけ悪いことしてたんだよ。後で報復とかねえだろうな。
雑魚相手にそんなヘマしねえよ。それにその悪党に関してはきちんと報告するべきやつがいるんでな。ドラクロワ2世のやつどこにいるか知らないか？
I think Deli's in his room.
部屋にいなかったから聞いてんだよ。なんだ弱ったな。一体どこ行って。あ、トラちゃん。
Impy came up with the
いい
nickname.
んじゃねえの、子供らしくて。まあいねえならしょうがねえ。ちょっとその辺探してくるわ。
I'll help. I was going to take some breakfast to him. I had already finished my own meal long before, so I stand and thank Impy for cooking it. As I'm clearing my plates, Saint Germain calls out to me.
ああ、そうだ。今日の午後は空いていますか？
Today, I have time.
では、買い物に付き合っていただけませんか？今日の食事のために良い食材を揃えようかと思いまして。どのみち一度は屋敷を離れなければいけませんし、どうでしょうか。
Helping him shop. That sounds like something I can do. Alright, I'll come with you. I make plans for later with Saint Germain, and then Lupin and I split up to search for Deli. I knock on the door to the boy's room. There is no response. As Lupin said, he is not in his room. He doesn't seem to have returned either. The door isn't locked, but Saint Germain told me it's rude to enter people's rooms without permission. While I was going through training, the Count taught me how to act like a proper lady while we walked around London. Going in without permission would be bad, so don't go in. I need to put his teachings in action. I nod to myself and get ready to leave. Get ready to leave. Maybe I should leave the food here? Perhaps Deli will come back while we're looking elsewhere. I decide to leave his breakfast by the door. Perfect. I gently place the tray next to the door so that it won't spill and head off. I wonder where he went. Saint Germain's mansion is very big. Even if we're in the same building, it's difficult to find someone here. Perhaps he's wandering the halls aimlessly like I used to? I hope his breakfast doesn't get cold. Impy made such a delicious meal, it would be the best if he could eat it hot. As I'm thinking this, I hear Deli's voice. I go over to a nearby window.
だからやめろと言っているだろう。くすぐったいくすぐったいってば。
Aww. Shishi is playing with Deli.
顔そんなに舐めるでない。
Aww, it's so precious. Baby. He looks like he's having fun. I look away and sigh softly. I'm glad Deli is able to laugh. I don't know how, but somehow this makes me feel like things will turn out alright. And suddenly, I remember the time I laughed and how everyone paid attention to me for it. Maybe they all felt like I do now. I'll keep this thought in mind and head over to the garden, filled with a strange joy. Hi Naoki, hello hello.
いいだろう。お前を世の配下にしてやるぞ。どうだ光栄だろう。ほうほう。素直に従うとはお前はなかなか見どころがある。
He's so precious.
闇の軍勢の第1号の座お前にくれてやろうではないか。
Army of Darkness? He jumps back at the sound of my voice and takes a fighting stance. But this is pretty much how talking to him always goes, so it doesn't faze me anymore.
何の用だ。
I see you and Shishi have become friends.
お前には関係のないことだ。でも、そうか。このものは獅子というのか。
Yes, Impy named him.
インピ？ああ、最も知性が低そうな赤い髪の男か。
Impy's catching strays for no reason. What the heck? Ashamed to think that named you? What the heck? Impy's just existing and everyone's just throwing punches. Impy is actually pretty impressive, but so many people underestimate him.
時にこの獅子とやらの足はなぜこのような機械式になっているのか。
It's because someone hurt him before Impy found him. Impy built him that leg so he could walk normally. Deli looks sadly at Shishi.
このような弱き命にまで手を挙げるとは。やはり人間という生き物はクズだ。
Poor Impy, it's okay, he's fine. But humans have given Shishi a new home and are taking care of him now. I think there are many different kinds of people. Not all of them are bad.
それでお前は何をしに来た。
I didn't want you to get hungry, so I brought breakfast to your room, but you weren't in, so...
朝食。そうか。わかった。
Yes. He was laughing so easily earlier, but his voice stiffens when talking with us. There's nothing I can do about it, but it makes me angry somehow. Angry?
お、いたいた。探したんだぜ。
Lupin appears, breaking the silence.
お前に土産があってな。
土産だと。何も持っていないではないか。
おっと、失礼。
Lupin takes a large square of cloth from a pocket and lays it out on the ground. He slowly pinches it, then lifts it up. And now there's a small suitcase sitting where the cloth had been. Oh, magic trick?
お前魔法が使えるのか。
残念ながら私はただの泥棒紳士。種も仕掛けもございますよ。
He looks so proud of himself. Deli looks at him, eyes wide, as Lupin opens the suitcase.
お次は中身にご注目。きっと驚くぜ。
なんだというのだ。
He got back a family heirloom. Deli turns his attention to the suitcase, sounding offended by Lupin's attitude. Inside the suitcase is...
それは世が取り り返す予定だった吸血鬼一族の財宝ではないか。
Why is Lupin such a gentleman? What the frick? The case is filled with beautiful pieces of artwork and gems, all packed in next to one another.
お前が持っていたのか。返せ。それは我ら一族のものだ。
はいはい分かってる
Yes,
分かってる
yes.
お前のために盗んできたんだからよ。
Wow.
盗んだ。
Lupin shrugs and pushes the suitcase towards the boy. Deli accepts it and looks back at Lupin, seemingly in shock.
俺は自分のために盗みはやらねえ。人のためにやる。お前のお宝の所有者を見つけてちょちょいと盗んできたんだよ。調べてみりゃどいつもこいつも悪どい金儲けばっかしてるやつでよ。盗んでやるのも痛快だったぜ。
どういうつもりだ。世に出せるような報酬は何もないぞ。
Even as he says this, he pushes the suitcase behind him with one foot, as if it truly is important to him.
そんなにビビんなくても取ったりしねえよ。それに報酬ならもうたんまりもらってる。盗みに入っ
Oh, the handling fee you mentioned.
イエースその通り。
Yes! He's so silly.
どうだいドラクロワ2世様。こいつが本当の怪盗の手際ってやつよ。
Lupin spins once, then gives the boy a graceful bow.
礼は言わぬぞ。
でならこっちが言いたいくらいだ。おかげで俺は俺の正義を曲げることなく大金を手に入れることができたんだからな。
I see. So it's Deli who's to thank for getting you to take action.
待て。今お前の言ったドラちゃんというのはまさか世のことではなかろうな。
ドラクロワ2世って長いからな。いいじゃねえか。バカにしてるわけじゃねえし。親愛への第一歩ってやつだよ。
You don't like it?
そんなの当然。
Suddenly, Deli's stomach rumbles. Oh, I left some breakfast by the door to your room if you want it.
朝食などいらぬ。
Deli starts running back to the mansion, then turns back to us.
礼は言わぬ。決して恩にも感じぬからな。
He's a Simpson. Lupin shrugs as we watch Deli run off. Lupin, thank you.
なんだよ急に。お前が感謝するとこじゃねえだろ。
I'm just speaking on Deli's behalf. Lupin smiles and walks back to the mansion. I turn to Shishi, who is laying down quietly. Shishi, do you want to go see Deli with me? Shishi wags his tail and looks at me. I'm happy you've made a new friend. Shishi barks energetically.
野菜に肉、それから調味料、あとはインピーに頼まれていた機械部品、ウランに頼まれた薬品も買いましたし、やれやれ、ようやくすべて買えたようですね。
As promised, the Count and I went into town that afternoon. Are you sure you can carry all of that? I can take some of those.
これくらいは何ともありませんよ。あなたにも持っていただいていますし。
Well, yes, but I'm holding only a small paper bag with 2 apples inside. The Count is holding 5 large bags filled with meats and produce in each arm. It must be heavy. Really, I'll take some.
いえいえ、こういう時、男に花を持たせるのも女性のたしなみというものですよ。
I nod reluctantly at Saint Germain's picture-perfect smile. I wonder how much weight he's carrying in each arm. It must take an immense amount of strength. I look at my own 2 hands. I wonder if I'd be able to handle that. Van Helsing did say that I was unbelievably fast and hardy during our training. Count, I'd really like to try. As I'm turning to him to say this, I see a boy selling papers to people around him. The boy steps in front of us, holding up one of the papers he's hawking. I wonder if something big has happened. I'm curious, so I look at the paper. The headline makes me gasp the moment I see it clearly. Violent terrorist Victor Frankenstein attempts bombing passenger train? Military technology advisor Oh my gosh.
ほほう。これを受けて英国政府は再びフランケンシュタインの捜索体制を強化ですか。
No way. Victor would never try to destroy a train with people on board.
車両の切り離しはしましたけどね。とはいえ、これはいささかやりすぎでしょう。私たちも対策を考える必要がありますね。
We need to head back and tell the others.
そうですね。買い物も終わったことですし、そろそろ帰るとしましょうか。
Saint-Germain smiles his usual smile and begins walking in the opposite direction of the mansion. Count? What's the matter? You're going the wrong way.
尾行されています。
Of course we are. Of course we are. What?
数は3人、かなり訓練されている様子です。間違いなく黄昏でしょう。
Twilight is here?
ですが、気づいた素振りは見せないでください。油断を誘いましょう。
He's so perceptive too, what the heck?
さあ、行きましょう。
Oh, right. The Count begins walking and I hurry to catch up.
またとない機会です。せっかくですから実地訓練と行きましょう。
You want me to train? You want to train me? Now?
これから先、あなたに降りかかる危険はこの日ではなくなってきます。その中で、あなたの生存確率を押し上げるには、危険すぎるほどの訓練でちょうどいい。
I'm not trying to keep my pace even with his.
ですが、安心してください。少なくとも今この場ではどんなことがあっても私が守って差し上げますから。さて、この状況に対してあなたならどう対処しますか？
Keep walking down Main Street. Seems to be the smartest thing to do. You know, stay around people. Plain sight. Safety. I wouldn't do anything. I'd keep walking down a busy street.
なぜですか？
Victor said so too. Twilight agents work in the shadows. They don't come out in the open unless it's absolutely necessary. So they wouldn't attack on a busy street like this one. Also, it's easier to hide amongst the crowd.
よくできました。十分に合格点と言えるでしょう。
Is that the right answer then?
いえ、残念ですが、この問題に正解はありません。
Saint-Germain suddenly tosses his bags aside and takes my hand.
こちらへ。
A sharp spear thuds into the ground where I had been standing just a few seconds ago. I can't believe they throw a weapon into a crowd like this. The people around us begin to notice that things are amiss. The confusion spreads. What the freak? Before we can move, the Twilight soldiers are ready to strike again.
ひとまず引きましょう。そこの裏路地へ。
As the crowd grows louder, I run into the nearby alley, Saint Germain right behind.
このように相手が常識を捨ててくれば正攻法も通じませんね。覚えておいてください。人が関わるすべての事象に必勝法など存在しないことを。
I understand. I turn away from him, ready to start running again, but my feet come to a halt. There are several Twilight soldiers standing before us with swords drawn.
やはり大通りからこちらへ誘導するための罠でしたか。お手本のような兵法ですね。
He says this softly and with a smile, as if this all falls in line with his predictions. Several of the men take cautious stances. There is no room to run in the narrow alley. Just as Lupin and Van Helsing taught me, I quickly check my surroundings. Saint Germain, I can buy us some time in this restricted space. I had a small smoke bomb in my pocket. Victor had given it to me just in case something happened. I close my hand around it as I continue. I'll distract him. Can you get past him and get help from the others?
おや、私にあなたを見捨てて逃げろと?
Their objective is to capture me, but they might kill you.
心遣いはありがたいことですが、ご心配なく。私はこの
Is he like a retired Twilight agent or something? What? Without holding a single weapon, Saint Germain stands in front of me. The Twilight soldiers hold up their swords threateningly. Count, watch out! The instant I shout this, a large wooden box slams into one of the soldiers from the side. He careens into another soldier and they both go down. The Twilight troops respond quickly. The other soldiers spin around and disappear into the darkness of the alley. The fallen soldiers are up in an instant and follow the rest.
不確定要素があれば退く。どうやら私たちを捕らえることよりも自分たちが捕まって情報が漏れることを危惧したということでしょうか。
I'm so confused what just happened.
しかし、先ほどの出来事は一体。
Oh, he doesn't know either? I thought he was the one who caused it. A new figure appears from around the corner as if waiting for a cue.
久しぶりだね。怪我がないようで何よりだ。
なんで? You.
おや、お知り合いですか?
Not really. He's the mystery man who got in the way of our plan to capture Finis. Lupin had a really tough time with him.
まるで悪役のような言われようだ。今この場では君たちを助けた恩人のはずなんだがね。
Thank you, I guess.
なるほど。これはまたおかしなところで出会うものですね。まるで初めから私たちをつけていたようだ。
ご想像にお任せしよ
う。But why did you save us? You were trying to stop us before.
犯罪の邪魔をするのは探偵の仕事のうちと
言いたいところだが、今のところ私は非番なのでね。そういった仕事に対する感情ではないよ。さらに言うならば、紳士が女性を助けることに何か理由が必要かな。
Okay, these two on the same screen is just not fair. I see. He continues speaking without hesitation. Herlock Sholmes suddenly stops to take a breath and faces
さて
us.
そちらの彼はなんとなく察しているかもしれないが、私がここにいるのは偶然ではない。君たち、そして先の者たち、両者の後をつけてきたからだ。
なるほど。私たちを追う黄昏をつけた二重尾行ということですか。
いかにも、あの黄昏という者たちにも問いただしたいことはあるが、まずは君たちが優先だ。
Sholmes makes a gesture to indicate that he is
ここ
thinking.
数日の間に一部貴族の間から吸血鬼一族の遺産とされる宝物、同時にかなりの財産が盗まれる事件が起きた。驚くほど鮮やかな手際だ。あれはルパンだね。
My eyes start about at this unexpected question. If someone like Sholmes finds out it's Lupin's doing, then he's going to be caught. I take a few deep breaths. I calm myself down so that I can keep a cool demeanor while we speak. And then... I haven't the faintest idea what you're talking about. My words tumble out awkwardly.
君は嘘をつくのが下手だね。
素直なあなたも素敵ですが、いずれ心を偽る手法も教えましょう。
Please do. While our conversation remains light, Saint Germain gently moves in front of me as if to protect me.
それで、その事実を知ったとして、あなたは私たちをどうするおつもりで？
いや、どうするつもりもないさ。これはあくまでただの確認だ。そちらのお嬢さんが、よくよく思えば、私は君の名をきちんと聞いていないな。せっかくの再会だ。名を聞かせてくれると、私としては嬉しいね。
Arin. Since I have no reason to turn him down, I simply state my name. He tweaks his mouth as if chewing on something and nods, seemingly satisfied.
なるほど。覚えたよ。ありがとう。さて、話を戻すが、例の強奪事件の犯人が君たちの仲間だとして、少なくとも今、私は君たちの敵にはならない。さっきも言ったが、今の私は非番なのでね。休日を楽しむ。
今は、ということは、近い将来私たちの敵になる。そういうことですか？
ああ、正確には明日の朝から敵同士だ。スコットランドヤード、それに軍からの協力要請があったのでね。
Damn.
英国政府は全力を挙げて凶悪な犯罪者ビクター・フランケンシュタインの確保に当たるらしい。最悪の場合、その場での殺害も許可されている。
Why? No.
黄昏も政府も対応はそう変わりませんね。それで、あなたはその依頼を受けると？
私はどのような時も法の味方だ。それがたとえ悪法であっても、遵守されることで社会の規律は保たれる。そこにどのような意図があるかはまだ見えていないが、法を守るためならば、私は喜んで君たちを捕まえることに協力するよ。
ルパンとは対極の正義ですね。
Damn.
アルセーヌ・ルパン。己の正義を貫く泥棒紳士か。彼のようなやり方を許し、 多くの者がそれを模倣すれば、そこに生まれるのは混沌だけだと私は思うがね。
Lupin wouldn't do something like that.
さて、どうかな。どのような結果であろうとも、犯罪は犯罪だよ。いずれにせよ、私は君たちに警告したかっただけだ。
A warning?
ああ、私が本格的に君たちを追うとなれば、そう時間がかからずとも、君たちの居場所や企みもすべて暴いてしまう。早々にこの英国から逃げ去ることをお勧めするよ。
なるほど。もう一つ選択肢はありそうですが。
We hire him instead? Saint Germain glances over at me and relaxes.
それを選ぶことはやめておきましょう。
Oh, he was thinking about killing him. JK.
確かに今はあなたの警告を胸に留めることにしましょう。
Sholmes nods.
では私はこれにて失礼しよう。お互い次に会った時は敵同士だ。お手柔らかに頼むよ。
With this, Sholmes leaves us.
思わぬ出会いでしたね。
Yes. I continue to look in the direction he left in. I wonder why. Even though they look nothing alike, I feel like Sholmes and Lupin have something in common. Hey, Saint Germain, don't you think that Sholmes and Lupin are alike?
あの二人がですか？そうですね。どちらも自分自身の行動に責任を感じ、かつ自身に揺るぎない自信を持っている。そんな佇まいが彼らには共通しているかもしれませんね。
You're right. They share that extreme self-confidence. I nod in agreement with his accurate point.
それはそうとして、ルパンの前で彼と似ているとは言わない方がいいでしょうね。
Why not?
列車であなたを逃がした後、ルパンはあのショルメという探偵に散々翻弄されたようですから。
Toy? Sholmes, not Lupin?
ええ、相当悔しがっていましたからね。インピーの助けもあってなんとか逃げ出せたものの、おかげであなたの救出が遅れたと怒っていました。
He toyed with Lupin? That Sholmes person must be very skilled.
一筋縄ではいかないのは確かなようですね。さて、難は去ったようですし、私たちも行きましょうか。
I nod in response, but Saint Germain begins walking in a completely different direction than back to the mansion. Saint Germain, are we being followed again? I run to catch up to him and lower my voice to ask when he stops and asks.
違いますよ。今日の外出の目的、忘れてしまいましたか？
Oh, shopping. The Count smiles and nods at my response. Because we had to buy sorry, I was trying to drink some water. Because we had to buy everything all over again, the sun had already set by the time we make it back to the mansion. Then we report what had happened to us. When the topic turns to Sholmes, Lupin's expression becomes one of pure disdain.
あのお邪魔野郎が参戦するのか。そいつは厄介だな。いや、俺様にかかればなんてことはね。厄介。いや、大したことはねえんだが、あの野郎が関わるのか。
見栄と本音が分かりやすくせめぎ合ってんな。
それだけ誘拐計画ではあしらわれたということだ。小手先だけの戦いをするからそういった目に遭う。いい教訓だな。
うるせえな。逃げ切ったんだから俺の勝ちだ。
俺が助けに行った時捕まる寸前だったじゃんか。インピさっさと助けろってさ。
違うっつうの。あれは敵を欺くための芝居だ。あそこから奇跡の逃亡を図ってたんだよ。
普通狭い列車の中じゃ逃げる方が不利なのは当たり前だと思うけどね。
泥棒紳士のプライドが許さないのでしょうね。
As we finish reporting most of what happened, the biggest problem remaining is Victor's wanted notice. What should we do? Would it be best if we just shut ourselves in the mansion?
それではいずれ居場所を知られて包囲されるだけだろうな。
そうですね。黄昏だけではなく軍とヤードまで動くとなると人海戦術でここも簡単に見つかってしまうでしょう。
じゃあロンドンを逃げ出してどこか別の場所にアジトを構えるとか。
悪くはねえが、それじゃアイザックの情報探しに支障が出る。ロンドンほど情報が集まる場所はねえからな。
なんだよ、そんじゃ打つ手なしじゃん。
いや、一つだけあるよ。
He is not turning himself over. Victor looks up at us all, and everyone's eyes are on him.
よく聞いて。フィーニスを含む黄昏の面々はおそらく単独で君を探しているんだと思う。その件について英国政府は介在していないはずなんだ。
確かに政府そのものが彼女を探しているのなら最初から人海戦術に出るでしょうね。
待て待て。最初に彼女をさらおうとしたのは女王の近衛兵じゃなかったっけ。
それはフィーニスが自らの立場を使って独断で動かしたんだと思うよ。その証拠に彼女自体は結果的に取り逃がしたのにもかかわらず政府側は何の捜索もしていないでしょ。つまり
Victor says this with a great deal of force behind his words. You are not turning yourself over. Saint Germain's voice hardens a little, as if he senses that something is off.
もしやフラン、あなたは自首をする気ですか？
Turning himself in. Is Victor willing to sacrifice himself to divert the government's attention away from us? Even though we are fugitives at this point, I don't want to think about handing him over so easily. That would be saving ourselves at your expense. I don't like that. Impy agrees with my initial negative reaction.
寝覚め悪いなそれ。俺も反対。
In response to our protests, Victor smiles grimly and waves his
違
hand.
う違う、そうじゃないよ。僕もまだ捕まるわけにはいかない。やり残していることがあるからね。
やり残していること？
あっと、それは今特に関係はなくて、とにかく僕は英国政府相手に僕たちを追わないように交渉できると思ってるんだ。
政府相手に交渉だと？また随分と突飛な意見だな。仮にお前の言う交渉を行うとして、誰に何をカードにして交渉するつもりだ？無謀な言葉なら口にしたところで救いはないぞ。
Victor slowly shakes his head at Van Helsing's challenge.
大丈夫。別にやけになってこんなことを言ってるんじゃないんだ。勝ち目はあると。
He quietly sighs, then turns to us with determination.
ビクトリアを味方につける。
The Queen?
ビクトリアってまさかビクトリア女王のこと？
そう、そのまさかだよ。以前にも言った通り、ビクトリア女王は僕を捕まえたがってる。 僕の頭の中にしかないある研究の知識を欲してるんだ。けれどそれ以上に彼女が恐れているのはその知識が他国へ漏れること。この知識が漏れたら現在の国際情勢さえ一変させ英国そのものを窮地に立たせかねないからね。
はあ、国際情勢ね。
それはまた舞台の大きな話ですね。
それでお前の持つその知識とやらをカードにビクトリア女王に交渉を迫ろうというのか。
そう、その知識を他国に漏らさないことを条件に僕たちの身の安全と自由を保証してもらう。黄昏に狙われている状況についても暴露し、今後僕たちが狙われることのないようフィーニスの動きを制限してもらう。そうすれば僕たちを取り巻く問題は全て一掃できるはずだ。
その知識の内容とは。
それは言えません。
I wonder why. I thought I saw a dark shadow cross Victor's face when this was brought up.
まあいい。ともかくそこまで自信があるならば実際に効果も見込めるのだろう。結果が伴うのなら家庭に文句はない。
But, Victor, this isn't something that can be done easily, right? There must be a reason why you've been running all this time without doing this.
鋭いね。その通りだよ。以前から考えていた方法ではあったんだ。でもビクトリア女王は第一級の政治家だ。彼女がこの交渉に乗ってくれなければ僕はどこかの研究室に閉じ込められて一生日の目を見ることはないだろう。事実逃げる前にはそうなりかけてたしね。
いいのか。お前自身が交渉のカードになるってことは一番危険な役回りは間違いなくお前だぜ。
うん、それはいいんだ。僕のせいでみんなに迷惑はかけたくない。
Why are they all self-sacrificial? I can see a strong light in Victor's gentle eyes behind his glasses.
ビクトリア、フィーニス、僕たちが相手にしているのは国家の権力者たちだ。機を逃してしまえば僕たちはあっという間にその力の前に飲み込まれてしまうだろう。時が過ぎれば過ぎるほど黄昏や軍、警察の調査の手は厳しくなり僕たちは身動きが取れなくなる。そうなる前にこっちから先手を打たなければいけないんだ。そうなれば当然君たちにも危ない橋を渡ってもらうことになってしまう。でもそれでもみんなどうか僕に力を貸してほしい。
We all look at one another and then...
いいぜ。俺は乗ってやるよ。何にせよ打開策は必要だし、お前に覚悟があるってなら文句はね。
じゃ俺も賛成。このまま何もせずにとっ捕まって牢屋に放り込まれるなんてかっこ悪いし。
惹かれるまでもない。追われる身の窮屈さにはそろそろ飽きが来ていたところだ。解放の手立てがあるのならば嫌が王でもなすべきことだろう。
では私も協力しましょう。できることは多くないでしょうがね。
I'm fine if that's what Victor wants.
みんなありがとう。この借りはいつか返すよ。
Victor says this with his usual smile. But for some reason, it looks to me like his smile is forced. The next night, I sit alone at my desk, writing. I'm reviewing emergency first aid methods and gun construction plans Victor and Van Helsing taught me, respectively. If I can remember my first aid properly, I can avoid any confusion in the heat of the moment. And knowing a gun's construction can lead to knowing how to handle an opponent who is carrying a gun. None of this knowledge is for direct application, but knowing it will help me make calm decisions when the time comes. That is what I've been told, anyways. I wonder how long it's been. I stretch a little and open the window to let the night breeze in. Then, Victor. I see Victor out in the yard. What he's thinking, he's just sitting silently. Oh, whatever he's thinking, he's just sitting silently, unmoving. I consider what to do for a while, then decide to join him in the yard. There's something I want to tell him. And when I arrive, Victor still doesn't show any indication that he'll move. I try waiting for a while, but nothing changes, so I decide to speak up. Aren't you going to sleep, Victor? It seems he didn't notice me walk up so close to him. He almost drops his book in surprise. Oh, sorry. I didn't think I'd scare you so much.
こちらこそごめん。考え事してて全然気がつかなかったよ。
My soft little cinnamon roll.
君はどうしてここに？夜風に当たりにでも来た？
I was studying in my room when I saw you out here.
こんな時間まで？熱心なのはいいことだけど、体調を崩さないようにね。
Alright, but it's fun to review all the things that everyone has taught me and very beneficial as well.
そっか。君は勉強熱心だね。僕も見習わないと。
Thank you.
何のことかな？
For thinking about everyone. If your suggestion works out, it'll guarantee safety for all of us. Then it'll be easier to find something about father.
そんなこと。僕は僕の身の安全を考えているだけだよ。
Even so, it's still going to save us all as a result. That's why I wanted to thank you. Thank you, Victor.
お礼なんていいんだよ。
No!
僕最低だから。
I don't understand why he would say this or what is so horrible about him. I think you're a very respectable person. Victor looks so incredibly sad that I want to make him smile somehow. You're very kind and considerate and smart and courageous. I respect you so much.
嬉しいよ。そんな風に言われるなんて思ってもなかったから。
Victor smiles his usual smile, but it seems like an act and more fragile than ever.
さ、今夜はもう寝よ。やっぱり夜更かしは良くないからね。
Alright, let's go. I'm worried about Victor, but it's probably not my place to step in any further than I already have. I turn around to see Victor still sitting in the same spot. Victor, aren't you going back to your room?
そうだね。もう少しだけぼーっとしてようかなって。
Would it be alright if I sat next to you?
どうして？
Just because.
なんとなくか。
Victor laughs, and this time his smile is very natural. The next day.
さて諸君、善は急げだ。夜のうちに情報をかき集めた上で今後の作戦を考えたぜ。
Lupin is speaking to us as we gather around the dining table for breakfast. The dark circles under his eyes are probably due to that hard work.
フランのビクトリア女王との交渉をどう実現するかについてだが、
そもそもどうやってビクトリア女王に出会うか、そこが最大の問題だろうな。
Could we send her a letter? It would be safe.
難しいでしょうね。差し出す側にも信用がなければ、そもそも本人まで届くとも思えません。
ああ、それにそれじゃ効果が薄いしな。相手を脅すときはな、自分にはしっかりした後ろ盾があることを示した方がいいんだ。こいつは一筋縄じゃいかねえぞって思わせる手立てが必要だ。ハリボテでも何でも自分をでかく見せる必要があるのさ。
自分を大きく見せる。それは結局のところ何をすればそうなる。曖昧なものではなく具体的な方法を示す。
簡潔に言うならバッキンガム宮殿への殴り込みだ。女王陛下と直接対決ってことだよ。
Hello?
殴り込みはあ、お前何考えてんの？イギリス全部敵に回すつもりかよ。
待ってインピー、ルパンのことだ。何か賞賛があってのことなんだろ。
Lupin smiles confidently and spreads a large blueprint across the table.
こいつはバッキンガム宮殿の見取り図だ。この宮殿は市政の中心地であると同時に王族の住まいでもある。ビクトリア女王は普段厳重に守られた宮殿内に引っ込んでいて、まず直接対峙はできねえ。
ある意味フィーニスより難しいだろうな。
ところがだ、そのビクトリア女王が公に姿を現す機会が近々ある。ナイトの叙勲式だ。
What is that exactly?
政府公式の催し物と思っていいかと。本来このような叙勲式は宮殿内で行われるのですが、その名誉を広く国民にも公開する、そんな名目のもと、かの女王の式典は宮殿の外で執り行うのが慣例となっています。当然警備の数は尋常ではありませんが、国民の一般観覧もしていますから、当日は盛大なにぎわいになるでしょうね。ああ、そうそう。バンが最強のナイトの称号である並ぶものなき史上の印を受勲したのもこの式典でのことだったのですよ。
Wow, you really are amazing, Van Helsing.
で、この式典に乱入。そしてその場にいる全員の前でフランには手出しを約束させるんだ。
Isn't it dangerous to do something like this in front of so many people?
だからいいんじゃねえか。派手に登場した方がフランの後ろに大きな組織がついてるって錯覚させやすい。
There's so many things that could go wrong.
ついでにその場にいる一般市民全員を人質に取れるって利点もある。
ルパン、それはダメだよ。無関係の人を巻き込んだら、それこそ僕は本物のテロリストだ。
Yes, I think it's too dangerous.
いいんだよ。そこまで全部含めての作戦だ。女王様が安心して判断を下せるようお膳立てしてやるってんじゃねえか。
What do you mean?
つまりこういうことだ。女王がテロリストごときに屈したとあればその権威は失墜するが、国民を守るため苦渋の選択を下したとなれば女王の姿勢はさらに盤石のものとなる。
脅す相手のことまで思いやるとは、今日は泥棒紳士の呼び名が輝いていますね。
当然よ。
I'm starting to think I don't fully understand what a gentleman is anymore.
大丈夫、君は正常。
しかし仮にその場でフランを解放すると言ったとして、その後に発言撤回をする。そういったあり得るかもしれない危険性も事前に考えるべきではないのか。何 のビクトリアだ。そう簡単に落ちてくれるとも思えん。
そこは僕に任せて。ルパン流に言うならハったりを聞かせてみせるよ。
Lupin nods firmly in response to Victor's words.
叙勲式の開催は今日からちょうど5日後。さあ、準備を始めるとしようぜ。
Okay, I think that's where I'm gonna stop for today because this next arc seems like it's gonna take a while. So that'll probably be a stream of its own. But thank you all for coming today. I am streaming. Oof. I am streaming again later tonight at 10 p.m. PDT with Anne, and we're gonna play the exploding bomb game. Keep talking and nobody explodes. We'll see how that goes. I won't be able to scream or be loud, so you will hear me suffering in quiet whisper screams. So that should be fun. Thank you all for stopping by, and I hope to see you later. Bye bye.